Hi guys, John here. Welcome to a new video. So as you can see behind me, we in this house celebrate Christmas, but I know not everybody does. And I think it's important that we have opportunities for people who don't celebrate Christmas to join in on all the fun this time of year. So I'm gonna do a painting today of a wintry scene that's not necessarily denominational at all. Today we're gonna do a winter birch forest with a little cardinal sitting in a branch. I think it's going to be a really wonderful video. Stay tuned and I hope you enjoy. Okay, so here we are with our painting. Once again, it's going to be a simple little birch forest with a cardinal inside it. I'm going very small for the sake of the video, so I want to do it live. And you could absolutely translate this to a larger painting if you wanted to. This is just for simplicity's sake. And also for simplicity's sake, I'm only going to use 3 colors. So the 3 colors I'm going to use are going to be, I'm going to pick this up and put it in front of you. I'm going to use this guy, which is a dark blue. I'm going to use this guy here, which is kind of like a raw umber color. And then I'm going to use this nice red here for my cardinal. So I can make an orange with these 2 if I needed to, which I will for the cardinal's beak. And then with this and this, I can make a nice brown, some nice dark colors. So that should be enough colors for me. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing I'm going to do is work on the background, and I want this to be pretty loose. So I'm going to get this all wet right here, and we'll kind of blend some colors into the wetness. Now I did use a lot of pencil here. That's gonna lift up when I get it wet, but that's not the end of the world. Okay, so let's start with our dark blue color. And so birch trees, if you're unaware, are white. And so if I want these trees to look white, I've got to make sure the background is darker than them. But I don't want to do the whole background with just this dark color. So I can come in here with my raw umber and add some variation to my background and let them kind of bleed together. All right. Darken up a couple areas. And we're gonna have to do this. Oh, I think the cat is doing something bad in the background. If you heard Hillary just holler. He's been very mischievous over the last couple weeks. It seems that loud noises are the only thing that kind of stops him from doing what it is that he's doing. So you can see I've got very vibrant color if I want it. I'm going to kind of try to lean toward the softer side just for the sake of this painting to give us some wintry vibes. I would like to make it look kind of snowy though. So one of the things I can do to give it a more snowy effect is drop some water on it, which I think I'm going to do in a minute here. I will just drop some clean drops of water off the brush. Maybe I'll use my fingers. A little more control that way. So you can see this is just gonna, it's basically gonna just make the water bleed a little. And that'll soak up some paint. Not a ton, but enough to be interesting. There's a big drop of water here that I want to pick up. Okay, so I'm going to go with a little bit more blue. Just in some of these bottom areas, so it gets lighter toward the top. Not necessarily has to be this way, but I think that would make it a little more fun. So that's gonna be our background. So let's jump to the trees. So the birch tree is white mostly, but in order to make it look white, we have to do a little bit of detailing. So like we said, I'm only using 3 colors. And so in order to get this to seem 3-dimensional, I'm just gonna really water down some of my blue, and I'm gonna add a little bit of my umber to it to kind of cancel each other out. And we're gonna go and pick a shadow side and darken that side. I think I want my light source coming from this way, so this side of my tree is gonna be darker. And so we can add some of that shadow just like that. And then while it's still wet, I can try to blend it out. Just like that. And so maybe I'll go a little bit more blue in some areas, just to make it even more 3-dimensional. Nice. Okay, so now for the fun part, we can start doing some of the detailing. And you see I'm working really quick. I want it to stay kind of wet so that some of these things will blend out with each other. So when I mix my blue and my umber, it almost gives me a green color. So I'm going to have to add some of my red to cancel out that green, which is fine because that's red and green are opposites on the color wheel. And so it'll work perfectly to give me a nice brown. It's almost like a gray brown, which is just what we need. And now we're going to do some of these lines here. So I know I want darkness from my branches. And so let's do the branches first. I'm using very light pressure, and I'm letting my hand kind of shake a little. And where those branches connect, we'll get some horizontal lines. So I've got another big branch here. We'll make this guy. We want to pull him in the front. Awesome. So I'm just kind of putting them wherever feels right to me. Now I want to let them kind of go off the page in some spots because we don't want to be too contained here. That's going to make it less interesting of a painting. Let's do a little guy back here, like it's coming off the back side of the tree. And now we can add some of these. I don't know if they're like splits in the wood. I think that's what they are. But I want to make sure that they're not all the same and perfectly even. That's not how it occurs in nature. So I'll space them apart from each other, and I'll make sure they're not all the same size or shape. or even starting in the same areas. So I had to remix my color, and it's going to change the color itself every time I mix a new one, and that's okay. So we're going to do a couple layers of this, and if the color is not exactly the same on every single piece of the tree, that's fine. Okay, so I need to darken up some areas, so I'm going to add a lot more of this blue and the red, and that's going to mix into a really dark purple, which next to everything else is going to appear pretty close to black. And so I can come through here and add some more detail to some of the areas that lost it. For example, I want this branch to obviously be in front of the other one, of the other tree, so I can darken it up to pull it forward. And I can also use this for some shadows in some of these cracks on the tree. Don't have to do all of them. Remember, variation is good. Okay, so let's get this cardinal in, and then that'll be kind of the main shapes, and then we can maybe work on refining things. So I'm going to start with the beak, because I need that to be a noticeably different color from the body. So I'm going to mix my umber and my red to give me almost an orange. And that's going to be my beak color. I'm sure that's pretty tough to see, but it's okay. If this were bigger, it'd be easier to paint the cardinal, but it also would take longer. So now that I've got that color down, let's go in for a red. I've got to clean some of my palette off. So let's go in for a nice vibrant red for the cardinal. So I'm trying to decide here if I want to use my pens. I don't think I do. I think I just want to let this be a watercolor painting. But I am gonna add some more shadows to the back side of these guys. Part of the process, you know, we got to work back and forth from everything. Okay, maybe I will do a little more blue on some of these edges to make things stand out better. This is kind of the main advantage of doing watercolors, is that you can work up layers and get darker as you go. And as you build up that contrast, it makes things pop better. And I want this front tree to pop off of the background, So down here, we'll make sure that there's nice darkness for the tree to pop off of. Okay, I don't want that hard line, so with a cleanish wet brush, I can come in and soften all that out. And let's add a little bit more here. Okay, so I kind of want to indicate some more faint branches. So I've got my brownish gray color that I mixed earlier, and I'm going to just very softly put some branchy shapes in the background here. It could be branches from other trees or leaves that are kind of catching. I think it's just going to help to provide what is called a vignette. And what a vignette is where the edges of a painting are darker than the focal point. And what that does is it draws our eyes toward the center. We want our eyes to be drawn toward the center because we want people to look at what we are trying to make them look at. So I need to do my little black spot on the cardinal. And so I'm going to mix my red and blue to make a very dark purple. And in this scenario, it's going to appear black compared to everything else. While I've got this color on my brush, let's darken up the very bottom again and soften it out. Sorry if you can hear Hillary in the background. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit of shading on my cardinal and then we'll call it. So I'm going to make another mixture of blue and red, but significantly less blue this time, like way less blue, just to give me kind of a darker red color. We can use that as a bit of a shadow on our bird here. Then I'm going to pick some of it up. Cool. I think that's good. I don't want to do any more to it, so I'm going to go ahead and sign down here in the bottom corner like I always do, and we'll call that a video. So let's go ahead and add the signature here. All right, that'll do it. Let's get to the outro and the glamour shots. I almost forgot. You guys are going to want to see me pull this tape, aren't you? Let's go ahead and do that. So I'm pulling very slowly away from the painting. If I pull this way, it's going to rip up the edge of my paper. So very slowly away from the painting. You can see there's some pencil marks from my initial drawing. I'll just erase those. Very slowly away from the painting. There we go. Okay, so let's erase these pencil marks that I don't care about. All right, so there's that. Let's get this framed up if we can find one, and we'll get to the glamour shots. All right, that's gonna do it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Here is our final piece. Try not to get it right in the sun so you can see it nicely, but that's gonna do it. Once again, I really appreciate you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, ring the bell so you're notified whenever I post a new video. Leave a comment. Let me know if you'd like to make something like this yourself, or if you want me to make something similar, or a different style, or some kind of winter painting that you have been interested in learning how to paint. I'm happy to do it. We're gonna be posting 3 days a week, all month. I don't think I'm gonna skip any days. I think Christmas is on a Thursday, so we might have to get a little weird about that one, but it'll be okay. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one.